Right, here we are for the final 6 races from the first half of the season. First up, Monaco. Not as always. What am I talking about? Second race to kick off the European season. Although does Imola count as the first race? I mean, I'd count Spain as the first race, and always will, to be honest, because that's how it's been almost every year I've watched F1. Anywho, 19-1 versus a 19-7 in Sector 1, 6 tenths slower around Sector 1. There's not actually any hairpins, just Saint Devot, the heroics corner. Just really slow for me through there as always, and so I couldn't find the time through turn 2, 3, 4. Sector 2 was, however, a little bit better, 1/10 in my favour. I believe Tabac and the swimming pool chicane. No, swimming pool chicane is actually part of Sector 3. I believe Tabac and maybe the Novell chicane helped out a little bit here, 1/10 in my favour. However, Sector 3 went back to formality, and I was 7/10 off Lewis, mainly because of what's it called? Raskas and the final corner. Really hate those. The race, did not go much better at all. 2.3 seconds on lap 2 lost. 2 seconds on lap 3, a little bit better. 1.46. 1.6 on lap 4, so even better. And then finally, I don't know where the hell this came from, 7/10 in the final sector, final lap. The gap could have been a little bit better, but it's Monaco. It's how it's always going to go for me. Azerbaijan, straight up, and then Verstappen got in pole this time, 4/10 in the first sector. 2 real 3 maybe acceleration zones in this. You have turn 2, that's costly if you don't get that right. Turn 4, I'd then say, is the next proper one, where if you don't get it right, you're going to lose some time in Sector 1. But 4/10 I lost. Then I also lost 4/10 in Sector 2. I believe this would be through turn 5, 6 chicane and turn 7. Maybe through turn 8, 9 and 10 I could take a little bit more speed, but I'll have to look at that in more detail. 4/10 to max. Sector 3, however, was only 1/10, and so this was probably down to a poor exit out of the final corner to give Verstappen the 1/10 advantage that he has on Sector 3, giving him a 9/10 advantage over across the whole lap race. Qualifying. Yeah, lap would have been fine. Heading over to the race, 1.2 seconds in Max Verstappen's favour on lap 2, with him a 43.9 and me a 45.1. Verstappen did slow down a little bit on lap 3 to do a 44.0, and I sped up a little bit to do a 44.8. This, of course, maths relates in only an 8/10 gap. Lap 4 was even better, with Verstappen losing even more time and doing a 44.5, and me getting given more time and doing a 44.6, so only a 10th deficit. Still a deficit, but the smaller that deficit, the better. But I say that on lap 5, Verstappen sped back up and did a 43.8, improving by 7/10 on lap 4. I unfortunately slowed down by 7/10 and did a 45.3 to go 1.5 seconds slower than him. Canada is up next then, and Russell was on pole this time. Went a tenth quicker in sector 1, maybe turn 2, losing a little bit of time. Maybe I could have had a bit of a better acceleration. I don't know why I'm saying any of this, because this was done on New Year's Day. So these set of races was New Year's Day, so I have no recollection on what happened. 3/10 lost in sector 2, could have been slightly better, probably due to both chicanes. And then sector 3 lost even more time, 6/10 this time. This most likely from the hairpin. In the end, it resulted in George setting a 1:12.0 and I set a 1:13.0. Not really the best, if you ask me. However, in the race, it was a little bit closer. However, lap 2 would suggest otherwise. George doing a 13.3 whilst I did a 17.2. However, this was due to... I don't know what it was due to. I lost 2 seconds in both sector 1 and sector 3, so it'd be odd to say that was because of someone ahead of me having damage, but you know, it could have been 2 different people. So obviously that resulted in a 3.9 second deficit. Lap 3, we matched each other. George being slightly ahead though, doing a 13.36, and I did a 13.37. Much better than lap 2. Lap 4 was even better. George Russell, I don't know why I said Verstappen and went to say lap 3. Lap 4, George did a 13.48 and I did a 13.44, going 400ths quicker this time around. However, George improved a little bit on lap 5 to do a 13.2, whilst I only improved a small bit to do a 13.3, losing a 10th overall. Seemingly quicker in sector 3 on that final lap, which is interesting. So yeah, I'm spending a lot of time on these races. I don't know why. Britain is up next then. My personal favourite, because it's my home race, and the lap times kind of show that. 4/10 in sector 1. Not entirely sure what I did. Probably just because I went flat through turn 1 and the AI don't. I don't know. I think they might. I'm not actually sure. I mean, it'd be a bit stupid if they don't and I do exploit an advantage when it comes to overtaking, which I did once actually when Charles Leclerc spun me round. Didn't stop him winning the title though. Sector 2, we matched each other and did a 36.9. 9. Not really much of a sector. This is straight all the way down to all the way down to Cops. Then Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. I've actually started taking Maggots at the right hand. I never know which one's left, right, forward, backwards, over the sea. In Antarctica, I never know which one's Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Chapel I do know is the final left-hander. Maggots, I'd assume is the first left-hander, and Beckett's, no idea, but I'd assume it's the second right-hander. It's either the second right-hander or the second left-hander. But either way, I've started taking the right-hander, the first right-hander flap, so it gave me a little bit more speed. Making up for any deficits that I could have had, or just equaling. Sector 3 was even slower for me this time. I did a 24.5 versus Verstappen's 24.2, losing 3/10. But I still came across the line to do a 29.4, and Verstappen did not improve enough and could only do a 29.5. Pretty much a 29.6, if you ask me. Although you could say that mine was a pretty much 29.5 as well. The race, did it go much better? I know you'll have to see. Lap 2, Verstappen went slightly quicker. We both did a 31.5, so there's no real comparison there. This was due to him overtaking me on lap 1, as you can see by the lap times, because I started on pole because my lap was quicker. Lap 3, I did a 30.7, he did a 32.1. Not entirely sure what happened here, but I am inclined to believe that this was actually the lap I overtook him, because it wouldn't make sense that we equaled each other on lap 2 if I overtook him. Then on lap go away notification. Then on lap 4, I did a 31.0, whilst Verstappen did a 31.4, going 0.4 slower, battling with the AI behind him. I'm inclined to believe, although it looks like the 0.4 came in sector 2. And then lap 5, I went 0.2 slower than him, doing a 30.9 versus his 30.7. It don't matter. I've spent 4 minutes on this one circuit. I need to move on. So I will. Austria up next. I'll try and make this one quick. Verstappen did a 16.4 versus mine 16.8 in sector 1, 0.4. It's a straight sector, so I don't know where I can improve there. Sector 2, 29.4 versus my 29.6. This actually contains most of the circuit's corners, so there is some time there. And in sector 3, 0.2 to Verstappen. Again, contains the other half of the corners in Austria, so there's some time to gain there, most likely through turn 9 and turn 10. Across the line, it gave Verstappen a 6.0 versus my 6.8, going 0.8 slower. Much quicker. The race, however, George Russell took the win over Verstappen. I went 1.2 seconds slower on lap 2, Russell doing a 7.6 versus my 8.8. Lap 3 was much better. George improved, did a 7.5. I improved and did a 7.6, 1/10. Lap 4, George Russell lost some time and did a 8.3. But I gained even more time and did a 7.0, obviously gaining 1.3 seconds on George. Lap 7, 5 went a little bit worse for me. Personally, I did a 7.3 versus Russell's 7.2, so I lost 1/10 after gaining a second on the previous lap. So that kind of eradicates all the good work that I did on that lap. Then we head over to France. Hamilton taking pole this time. Sector 1, I went 0.2 slower, doing a 23.3 versus Hamilton's 23.1. Sector 2, Hamilton did a 28.3 versus my 28.4, 1/10. Could have been a little bit better, but obviously all of these could have been a little bit better. In sector 3, he did a 41.1, could round to a 41.2, and I did a 41.2 in sector 3 to go 1/10 slower. Although if you really look at it, it's just under a 1/10, and therefore results in 3/10 at the end of the lap. Hamilton doing a 32.6 versus my 32.9. The race, however, Verstappen took the win, going 2/10 quicker than me on lap 2. Verstappen doing a 34.5 versus my 34.7. On lap 3, we both matched each other, doing a 34.7 for Verstappen, doing a 34.7 for me, hence matching each other. Me going 300ths slower than him. Lap 4, he did a 34.2 and I did a 35.3, going 1.1 seconds slower. Then on lap 5, Verstappen did a 34.2 and I did a 33.3, not improving anywhere near to what I did on lap 2 and 3, going 1.1 seconds slower than Verstappen again. Yeah, I seem to do really well in the qualifying, but I don't back that up in the race. Or, well, I do okay in qualifying, I just do poor in the race. Hungary then, for the final time in this episode, 27.7 in sector 1 versus my 28.1, going 0.4 slower. Sector 2, he did a 27.7 and I did a 28.4, going 0.7 slower. There are quite a few hairpins and slow corners in this one, so that could have accounted for the large gap. And in sector 3, he did a 22.2 versus my 22.5, going 0.3 quicker than me. There's 2 fairly long hairpins in this one. I know they don't look like hairpins, but they go back on themselves, so I'm calling them a hairpin. Deal with it. This results in Verstappen doing a 17.7 at the end of the lap, and I doing a 19.1, going 1.4 seconds slower. Then, last but not least, the race. Verstappen did a 19 flat on lap 2 versus my 20.9, going 1.9 seconds quicker. Lap 3, he did a 19.0 versus my 19.8, and on lap, that being an 0.8 gap in favour of Verstappen. Lap 4, he did a 19.1 versus my 19.6, going 0.5 quicker than me. And Verstappen went back to his 19.0 on lap 5. However, I went back to my 20s and did a 20.0, going 1 entire second slower. So that's the circuits where I kind of need to improve on. What does this all look like? Well, these are all the circuits for this episode. As you can see, for Britain, I'm only doing the qualifying, by the way. If you haven't actually noticed, I didn't do the races because I couldn't be bothered to put in every single lap or to average every lap. So yeah, I probably won't now because I've deleted all the screenshots of the previous races. Oh well. As you can see, Britain, the only one being well, none of them within a 10th, but Britain being the only one in favour of me, and so being the only green grade on the left hand side. Obviously, the right hand side, because there's 7 circuits here, 7 grades could be filled to grade 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The only ones missed out are 9 and 1, because nobody cares about them enough to be filled. No, just kidding, it's only because there's not 9 circuits in this screenshot. So yeah, no surprise to see Britain highest, no real surprise to see Hungary lowest, close with Monaco, both being a grade 1 on the left hand side. Canada could have been a little bit better. I would have liked to have seen that a little bit below 1 second to the AI, but you know, you just got to take it as it comes. And then, looking at all the circuits together from this last part, the grades on the left hand side won't have changed, of course, because they're independent of each other, of the other circuits. Whereas the right hand side, of course, will. And as you can see, Hungary stays at moves down to a grade 1, and Britain moving up to a grade 9. Imola being within the only circuit within a 10th moves up to a grade 8, and that's really the only real proper ones you should note. And obviously, because there's 13 circuits and 9 glades, it should be 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 2 4s, 3 5s, 2 6s, a 7, an 8, and a 9. If you want to do your own version, I know, to compare with me, I know. I mean, everyone likes to compare with me. No, they don't. No one likes to compare with me. Because nobody really knows me. That's just sad now, I should kind of stop. Anyway, let's move on to what we did last time. And it's all the circuits added together into one screenshot. Yeah, again, none of these new circuits popping onto the other side of the screen. However, Britain, congratulations, you are on here as our highest, almost moving on to the next screen, just missing out. Yeah, this episode did overall worse than last episode. Am I surprised? No. Am I surprised that it still beat that Singapore? No, not really. I really hate Singapore. I really kind of wish it would go off the calendar. Is it an okay circuit to... Do I like driving it though? That's the thing. If I want to improve, I've got to kind of start making myself enjoy the circuit, because otherwise I'm not going to want to improve, kind of like Monaco. Which is, for me, tomorrow, Saturday, 28th of January. So, yeah. Give me good luck. Wish me good luck, guys, because I will need it. Again, grade 9 staying as always the same. I don't know why I've put the time trial circuits in here from mid-season last season, because they have no relevance whatsoever to the AI test. They're not even an AI test, they're just there because they're there. So they'll be removed for next time you see this, which will probably be mid-season. Anyway, I have nothing else to talk about, so I'm just going to go now. Not without a goodbye, because that's just rude. Goodbye.